We can't really say that this year's Queen's speech was weird. Every speech Mrs. Windsor makes is weird. Everything about her and her family is weird. In fact, the very idea of having an unelected hereditary head of state in the 21st century is weird. Even the papacy, Europe's last remaining absolute monarchy, is more democratic than the British royal establishment. It is a scandal that we tolerate this setup while claiming to be a democracy and being the home of the mother of all parliaments. But this year's intrusion into our lives from Buckingham Palace was especially weird. I'm not entirely convinced that many people in the United Kingdom actually give a crap about the plight of the homeless. Most of the time we hear mention of them is when we're trying to use the fact of their existence as political capital against our opponents. But the reality is that homelessness is rising steeply, and that the number of people dying on the streets is rising just as much. Homelessness is no longer a crisis, it's an emergency, but we tolerate it, I fear, because we don't really care. 1 in 4 children are living below the breadline, and that's something we do care about, you know, children. This is the hungriest Britain has been since the 1950s. There are people working 2 jobs, not bringing home enough to feed themselves and their families. Cuts to social welfare, cuts to the NHS, welfare reforms, sanctions and the rolling out of universal credit have left people penniless and hungry. This rapid slide into poverty is making people angry, and we're seeing this in our politics. This is the most polarised politics in the UK has been since the 1920s and 30s during the rise of European fascism, and right now that's where we're headed again. So to address us on Christmas Day, Mrs. Windsor decided to plonk herself down in a room of the palace dripping with gold. Everyone's talking about the gold piano, but what about the gold walls, the gold fireguard, the gold chairs, the gold ornaments and the massive gold carriage clock on the mantelpiece? What was she telling us? What was she telling the hungry children of Britain? That one day, if they eat their greens, they can be as rich as her? Is it any wonder people are tweeting Marie Antoinette and let them eat cake?